Hello, and welcome to the Under Budget Outdoors podcast, a podcast for new, intermediate, and seasoned hunters across the world. A podcast about experience, gear, knowledge, and more. Whether you hunt with a bow, crossbow, rifle, or shotgun, you can hunt properly and efficiently while being under budget. Just remember, it doesn't take big bucks to kill big bucks. Let's get right into it.
Take three. Welcome back to episode 12, Under Budget Outdoors. Brock, PJ, and myself. We're going to be telling you how we manage the work, family, hunting lifestyle. Take what you want, critique it. If you guys have any ideas, put it down in the comments. You know, we're all just trying to get out in the woods at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, and try to keep everyone happy. So what I do is I typically work from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m., Monday through Friday. Occasionally, I'm on call on the weekends. So for me, that's, really convenient, because I have the morning most days, but I don't have the evenings, right? And some guys like the mornings, some guys like the evenings. I only have the mornings unless I take off. So, I try to get up at the crack of dawn, be out there. Getting up early for me is challenging because I am deaf in my left ear. So I always don't hear my alarm clock go off. So there have been a couple times when I'll get up 6:30 and be like, oh crap, it's opening day. And I'll run down to the public land and there's 25 trucks in the parking lot. So it's...
And that was the day that the big booner was going to walk through and you missed him.
That was the day that the big 12 was going to walk out, and I definitely missed it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, in the mornings aren't so bad because, like, the kids are in school, my wife works, right? So everyone is already doing their own thing. In the evenings for me, my wife is done working. If I, put in some PTO or if I don't have anything going on, it's hard because, I was in, the Army for 11, 12 years. And everyone's tired of me, being gone. So I would say the week I hunt in Pennsylvania, the week I hunt in Jersey, I'll probably only do maybe 2 days of actual sun up to sundown hunting. Probably 3. One of them, one day in Pennsylvania with no luck. Then, Brock, I'll tag along with you like a little child, not, lost in the woods. And that's where I got my deer. My first deer 2 years ago, as I was tagging along with Brock. Brock said, stand here, wait for the deer.
And for once in your life, you listened.
It worked, didn't it?
It worked, yes. So, I mean, it's, this whole time management, varies. There's so many variables in there, the type of partner you have, the type of job you have.
Well, and you also have to keep in mind, like you were saying, so when you work your 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. shift, if you go out that morning and you harvest something, you need to you need to make sure you have that time to get it out of the woods, either get it to a butcher, the processor, hang it up, whatever you got to do so you can be ready to go to work and do all that. So you have to account for that time as well.
That's a good point. I haven't gotten a deer in the morning yet, so I haven't thought that process through. But yes, that's a very good point. I'll go out there. I'll try to be out there 5:30. Stay until about 10:30, 11, depending on how far I have to travel and all that stuff. But yeah, where the butcher's at, tracking the deer. Those are all things that until right now I did not take into account.
Well, you're welcome. And also another thing that you just brought up that needs to be taken into account as well, especially for the ones that are doing public land hunting, is you need to account for the travel time. So if you need to be home at a certain time, you need to account for the time that it's going to take you to get out of the woods to your vehicle and then get home to, either change or whatever it is that you got to do. That's additional time that you have to be thinking about. Even when you wake up in the morning, you have to account for that time, because if you say the sun comes up at 6:30 and you want to be in your stand ready to go at 6 o'clock, that doesn't mean you're pulling in the parking lot at 6 o'clock, because you need to take that
Right.
time to walk to your stand. So you need to account for that kind of time and make sure that you have all that set.
Yes, and on the weekends, Pennsylvania sometimes does Sunday hunts. They go back and forth on it constantly. I have to look up this year on what is going on with the Sunday hunts, but you go out on the weekends, you have every other person out there like myself just trying to get some time in the woods, trying to bang that 12-point wall hanger up there. So I mean, it's definitely, I've been doing this for 2 years. It's definitely still a challenge to try to fit everything into a 4-hour window, 5-hour window. Now, if you have private land, you know what I'm saying, that you can.
Yeah, that changes everything up if you don't really have to go anywhere besides your own property.
Yeah, you could wake up, when you want. You already know if it's your land, you have a pretty good idea on how the deer travel, where they travel, when they travel, the time. So you're not really wasting time. But again, you have to scout, and how do you, manage scouting with work and all that, so before you go out, see how long it takes to travel, see how long it takes you to get, dressed when you enter the woods. Cause I don't wear everything in my car because of scent and it's too hot, all this other nonsense. So how long does it take you to get dressed? How long are you going to walk for? You're all pumped going to your stands, so you're going to walk a little bit quicker, and then you drag your feet going back to your car, because who wants to work an 8-hour shift after they were just in the woods for a few hours with the piece of nature? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's hardcore guys out there that do it. I know a couple of guys that they pull the night shift, they work all night, and then they go out a couple hours and then go home and sleep before they go back to work.
More power to them.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the drive and the will and everything to be able to do it, that's great. I mean, like for me, my wife, she only works like 3-4 days a week. She's a nurse, so she's on that odd schedule. And right now she's working like the noon to midnight shift. So I'm kind of in the same boat with the mornings are the best for me. But I typically, she gets her schedule for like the month, like probably like, I would say for like July, she'll get her schedule around like the 20th of June, 25th of June, somewhere in there. So I pretty much look at that and be like, okay, this is when you're working. This is when you're not working. All right, this day I'm putting aside for hunting. Or, this day I'm putting aside for going out scouting, and make sure that like I tell her like, hey, like this is what I want to go do this. This is how long it's going to be. If I'm going out scouting, be like, I want to have a good solid 3-4 hours to walk around the woods and change batteries and cameras, put out minerals, scout, whatever the case is. When it comes to the season, kind of do the same thing. And I normally try to do it like one full day a month at least. So that way, if I have the opportunity to get, hey, I want to go out for the morning hunt for this one before you go to work or something like that, I still have that extra little bit of time that I can do it. But I try to get at least one solid full day, morning and afternoon sit per month once I get her schedule and try to work around that. So
Okay.
I try to work with her, so that way it's, and then every once in a while there will be times where we have other things going on, or like around the holidays when you have, you're getting together with families and stuff like that. I usually, the kids will go to my grandparents or something like that, and I'll go do like an afternoon sit.
Okay.
Her mom helps us out a lot with watching the kids, so I can talk to her, and if I can even have it to where every once in a while they can stay at or like overnight over there, and I can go out for an early morning sit. If you have that capability to be able to do kind of that kind of stuff with other people helping you out with watching the kids or whatever, you have a little bit more flexibility. I normally try to take 2 to 3 PTO days a year and save them for hunting. Like, I'll try to use them usually around like late October, early November, when the hunting's normally the best, like around that rut time. Every once in a while, if I get out of work early, I'll run home real quick and throw some clothes on and head out to the woods. But I mean, I'm primarily a weekend hunter just because of work and not really having the time to do anything.
And I would also say something that, because I've been going up to Maine. I went up to Maine last year, going up to Maine this year. Anniversaries, dude. I got married smack dab right in the middle of hunting, so that's another
It's another
challenge,
battle. Yeah.
And that's, 1 year, maybe you're out in the woods. The next year you're at Applebee's, or wherever we're going out to dinner, so that's another thing that you have to throw into the mix, anniversaries, birthdays,
Right.
depending on what you're going for, Thanksgiving.
2 years ago when my son was born, he was born October 14th. So I, definitely didn't keep my pecker in line at the time of year that I should have. So obviously having a newborn baby is going to throw a lot of struggles in there. We're trying to get out in the woods and, trying to be home obviously your wife is healing, trying to be there for the kid and all that kind of stuff. You're not trying to just, hey, we had a kid. All right, bye. I'm going out to the woods now.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if that next day I was like, hey, I'm going out to sitting in the woods for a couple hours, I probably wouldn't be here to tell the story. So
either that or you would have came home and had the wrong key to the new lock.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing that, my kids are a little bit older now, right? So, my 2 oldest boys, I could take out with me, you know what I'm saying? So it's not so
Right.
much for my wife to work, house stuff, kid stuff, and that's, I'm learning, he's learning. Like I took him out last year and he asked me, all right, what are we doing? We're walking around looking for deer.
it's like, well, I was hoping you could tell me.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
You know?
for me, it's kind of the same with you, Brock. Like, I can try to take a day here or there, but mainly it's just going to be Fridays after work or Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. In my line of work, I don't have a set schedule, and I'm pretty much expected to be available from 2 a.m. Monday until 10 p.m. Friday, and possibly Saturday, and possibly even Sunday. So,
well, and even there,
you know.
I mean, like in your case, it could be, hey, I'm looking at going out on Saturday, but then next thing you know, you're working until 10, 11 o'clock on a Friday night. Now you got to run home, shower, try to get some sleep.
And
where I
go hunting is a 90-minute ride for me too. I don't have anywhere directly around me that I can take a 20-minute ride in the morning. So, it's kind of difficult. Like the last time I went up to the cabin, I left Friday right from work, I think at 3:00. Of course, the road was shut down, and it took me 3 hours to get there. So I was able to hunt, I think it was about an hour and a half. And, I'm pretty sure I talked about seeing that 6-pointer, but it was a little too dark and I didn't want to take an unethical shot at it. So I passed up on that. And then, Saturday morning, I went out at 4:00 in the morning, and I've never felt seasick in a tree before, but It was windy that day.
Yeah, swaying back and forth.
I mean, it was horrifying. And it's not fun hearing all the branches crackling above your head and around you at the same time. It's weird.
Yep.
But
when it gets windy
that was
like that,
it.
one of two things happen. You either get sick or you get like that little nice swaying lullaby and it puts you to sleep.
Right.
It's
And
one-
it
one of the
didn't
two.
it didn't help that it was like 40 degrees and the wind was blowing, and it wasn't a good time. But I mean, that was like it. That was the only time I had the entire October, and then November we had a lot of family stuff going on. And I only got out that one day that last season. And this past year, I didn't go out at all besides going to Georgia. With all the projects going on at work for me, it's very difficult to even try to plan it anymore. So I'm going to try to put some more time away this year and at least, get to the farm with you guys and go from there. But,
Yeah, I
just
mean,
got to make do.
one thing that's really beneficial, like I don't know too much on the Pennsylvania side, but at least with Jersey, I at least have, I would say, probably one of the longest seasons out there. We start like the second week of September and we go all the way until the second week of February. So, I mean, I have more than enough time to plan out. If I make it, October, I can only get out one day because of work, family, whatever. I know that I have the rest of the year to try to get some more days to get out there and get in the woods.
Right.
It sucks. I hate being at work and knowing that everyone I know on Facebook or whatever is sitting out in the woods enjoying their time shooting deer and all that, and I'm stuck at work. Or
Mm-hmm.
If you're stuck at a family event, you have to keep that family lifestyle going and happy and everything, and not just completely shut them out.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys get to hunt in September too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know
for
when does archery open up for Pennsylvania?
It's October 5th through November 16th. They're doing the Sunday hunt of November 17th. You can hunt through the 18th and the 22nd of November. And then it's closed until the day after Christmas. And then it closes fully for archery January 20th. Muzzleloader is October 19th through the 26th. Special firearms is October 24, 25, 26. And regular firearms is November 30th, Sunday, December 1st, December 2nd, through December 14th. And then Flintlock is after Christmas, and extended regular firearms is January. Well, it depends on where you're actually hunting at, but
Yeah,
it's pretty consistent every year for PA. That PA opener is always Thanksgiving weekend.
yeah.
Or firearm.
It used to be the Monday after Thanksgiving, but then they changed it to the Saturday.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, like you just have to sit down with your wife or husband or whoever you share your life with and set down expectations. I'd be like, hey, if I'm gonna go out, I'm planning for 5 hours from the time I leave the door to the time I come back. It's gonna be probably 5 or 6 hours, and just set.
Anytime you set a time like that, always add an hour or two to it just to save yourself a little bit.
Right, and
if you think you're going out for 4 hours, say you're going out for 6. That way, if you do shoot something, or if you're just having a good time and you just don't want to be back yet, there you go. You got yourself a little bit of extra time.
Side note, coyotes don't have a closed season and there's no limit. Foxes is October 26th through February 22nd. No limit with Sunday hunting permitted.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of thinking about going to PA for some coyote hunting.
Gonna have to see about doing some cabin hunting up there. for the old coyote. I know they
That'd
get
be
a lot
great.
of fox up there too, so that'd be cool.
But yeah, just do what you can, set the expectations. If this is your first time out there, just do what I did. Go out there, no gun safety, know your do's and don'ts. Set,
You
and
should
be like,
rephrase that because the way you say it is no gun safety. I'm like,
Know your gun safety.
yes,
there you go.
Yes. Or no gun safety, if you the Wild West, pick your poison.
Yeah, I don't think
mean,
you're
if
gonna get far.
If you're umberfoot out there, shooting wabbits, then might have a problem.
On opening day, it definitely does sound like the Wild West.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
and it's always like the first light is there's like 15 shots going off. I'm pretty sure half the people just want to shoot a gun.
I mean, I can't blame them. I definitely thought, be like, oh, I want to be cool too. Let me fire off this 30 caliber rifle,
I'd love to see how many of them are actually shooting a deer and not that branch that looks like a deer as the sun comes up.
I've seen so many 10 pointers right at dawn. I'd be like, oh man.
Yep.
Yeah. You ranged it.
And then you realize 2 hours later it hasn't moved, and it's like it's either a decoy or a branch, one of the two.
Yeah.
When I was at Georgia, when we were down in Georgia, the last morning that we were there, I was staring at a stump for about an hour.
And you're contemplating, be like, all right, is it sleeping? Is it still? Is it a bush?
I mean, it happens, and you're 3/4 of the way asleep, and you have no freaking clue where you're at, and you're like, huh.
On your way
that could be a bedding area.
Pick up a couple of rocks and start tossing it at it, see if it moves.
Right. No.
So, but yeah, just again, try to make the expectations as clear as possible. And I would even say offer to bring wife, husband, whoever along with you. Like there's nothing wrong with gun or no gun. There's nothing bad about sitting out in the woods.
Right.
Like that's one, it's super peaceful. Like I've taken some of my best naps at the base of a tree.
And you wonder why you don't shoot deer.
Mm-hmm.
Deer only live, next to major highways and county roads at 10 o'clock at night.
That's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah.
Or on Norfolk Southern lines that you can't shoot towards.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, try to bring them out, give them expectations. Just don't. I would say try not to hide anything, because I feel like that could lead to a very bad time with hunting for your partner.
Yep. You definitely don't want to do that.
Of course, always let somebody know the area you're in or a grid location, something. So when you do say, hey, I'll be back in 6 hours, and you're not, and you're in a tree stand that's 15 feet above the ground, they can have a general idea where recover.
You are, exactly. Where you are or where they're going to find you.
Yeah. Brock, do you have any more pointers?
I was going to say, if you follow all safety, there's a very slim chance that will happen.
You've been hunting since the 1800s?
BC.
No, I mean,
1800s BC.
Yeah, BC.
Yeah, I was out there shooting all those saber-toothed tigers and mammoths. That's why they're not here anymore.
That's exactly it.
You are the reason that we find bones everywhere.
But, I mean, we've pretty much touched mainly on, like, I would say, in my opinion, the biggest points. It's basically, like I said, like I do. I, sit down with the wife and I just say, hey, like, let me see your work schedule. Let's see what we have going on, if there's anything planned or whatever, and just kind of narrow down. Like I said, I normally try to get at least one solid full day a month. And then if I have the opportunity to dabble in a couple more, morning sits or afternoon sits, something like that, if you are like me and you're lucky enough to have a lot of family close by that can watch the kids and don't mind doing it, you can use that to your advantage. Like we said before about, adding the travel and everything into your time to be able to manage it. Like I'm lucky enough that the property that I hunt is about 20 minutes taking back roads from my house. And then I know pretty much no matter what stand I get to, the longest that it's going to take me to walk in is about 20 to 25 minutes. So I have a pretty good idea of when I need to leave my house, when I need to get there, where I need to park that day. Because I typically am, I would say within about 2 to 3 days of when I'm planning on going out, I have, okay, this is where I'm going to be at. I look at the weather, look at the wind, look at, the cameras to see, what stand I wanted to go to and all that. And I have all that lined out. So I know exactly when I have to wake up, exactly when I have to leave, all that, my travel route going in, have all that planned out already. If I do get lucky enough to get one of those last minute spurts, hey, you want to go out hunting tomorrow, you have time to do it, go for it. I kind of do the best I can to throw something together, but I still make sure I leave that extra time to get into the stand. Even if you're going out for an afternoon sit, if it's the late fall, early winter, whatever, and the sun's going down at, 5:00, don't be getting in your stand at 3:00. Give yourself that little bit of extra time to get in there and get set, let everything kind of calm down around you after you walked in there and got yourself up in your tree or in your blind, whatever it is that you're doing, to allow any kind of movement that's going to come through there.
Right.
And also keep in mind, you're going to be tracking that deer or whatever at night. So you need to make sure that you have your headlamp, flashlights, whatever the case is, and knowing that, hey, and you also have to make sure that your significant other knows that just because the sun's down doesn't mean you're immediately coming out of the woods and going home.
Right.
If you got something that's going to take that little bit extra time to get that deer out of the woods, and like I said before, either get it to the butcher, bring it home, hang it up. If you do your own processing, whether if it's cold enough, leave it in the truck and drop it off at the processor the next day, whatever the case, you've always got to add in that extra time and take account for that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And you can always, if you do have time to scout, you can, cut down your time if you know when the deer are coming through, where they're coming through. It takes a lot of that. Maybe I'll sit here, maybe I'll get lucky. That's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. Really haven't scouted. Work been kind of crazy during that time because I work in hospitals and everyone gets sick during hunting season with flu and all this other nonsense. So for me, that's when work picks back up because they're using more of the equipment and stuff like that. So if you're able to scout, know where and when and how the deer are getting to your location, that can cut down your wait time a lot.
Yeah, when it comes to scouting, like you don't need 10 hours a day to go out and scout. If you have an hour here, 45 minutes here, another hour here, just go out and do it. The more that you're in the woods, the more you're going to learn, the more it's going to help you out. Like I don't have all the time in the world, especially now, because this is the time of year where the days are long and I'm at work all day. If I have the chance on the weekends, I'll try to go out, 1 or 2 days every month just to kind of, like I said, put some more minerals out, change the batteries in the cameras, check the cameras, look for sign on the way in, on the way out, that kind of stuff. Like I've been out twice so far scouting, and I think each time I was out was maybe like 3 hours that I had. And
nice.
The one was the wife was at home with the kids and we didn't have anything going on. And the other one, I had to drop the kids off at my grandparents' house. And me and my dad went up to the farm. We walked around. We put the cameras out and all that. And kids hung out with the grandparents for a little while. They got to see the kids. It worked out for both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely need to start scouting my public land to see the latest and greatest. What's out there?
You and everyone else.
Yeah, dude, freaking tell me about it. Just need to hit the Mega Millions.
One day. One day
But,
we'll buy 1,000 acres.
Yeah.
One
But
day.
yeah, so we're gonna try a couple things different on this podcast. We're gonna try to keep it shorter. You know, like an hour and a half is kind of long, especially when it's off season. You know, we're hoping that the views will definitely pick up come like August, September, when guys are starting to dust off their tough boxes of their hunting clothes and all that. So we're gonna the next couple episodes are gonna be shorter, hopefully like 30 max 45 minutes long or something like that. So hopefully, you know, you guys don't get bored with this and keep, you know, stay tuned and, you know.
Yeah, we'll go from there.
It doesn't take big bucks to kill big bucks.
There it is.
There you go.
Alrighty, y'all. We'll catch you later, and Brock will be posting about the giveaway here shortly.
Oh, and we forgot to mention, like, subscribe, comment,
all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. We're on Spotify, Facebook, TikTok,
and YouTube,
and
Obviously,
Instagram.
Yeah,
Instagram is coming eventually.
Yeah, I'll work on it.
Yeah, but
to be determined.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
All right.
Later.